Animal reintroductions are one of the best ways to save a species on the brink of extinction, and thankfully most animal reintroductions are successful. A lot of time, planning, and money go into successful animal reintroductions, and even after an animal is reintroduced, it needs to be monitored and protected. This is why it's devastating when an animal reintroduction fails, and it's even worse when the animal is on the brink of extinction. There are many factors that could cause a reintroduction to fail, such as human-wildlife conflict, disease, predation, pollution, and environmental factors. As well as this, there are often political issues that arise when reintroducing a species, and in some cases the area may not be fit for the animal that's being reintroduced. In this video I will be going through just a few failed reintroductions, and we'll start off with some rather large birds. Ostriches are the heaviest living birds, and they lay the largest eggs of any living land animal. These birds belong to a group known as the ratites, and this group also includes emus, rheas, cassowaries, and kiwis. There are currently 2 living species of ostrich, the common ostrich and the Somali ostrich. The Somali ostrich has slightly darker feathers in some areas, which is why it's also known as the blue-necked ostrich. The common ostrich has quite a few different subspecies, and one of these subspecies is the North African ostrich. The North African ostrich has the largest average size of all the subspecies of ostriches, and this makes the North African ostrich the largest living bird. These birds are perfectly adapted to arid environments, as they have long eyelashes to protect them from sandstorms, and they can even survive without water for up to 2 weeks. Like most ostriches, it used to have a much larger range, and now it is only found in 6 of the 18 countries where it originally occurred. Even though the ostrich is mostly seen as an African bird today, they once had large populations in the Middle East. The ostrich that was found here was known as the Arabian ostrich, and this bird was a subspecies of the common ostrich, but it is now extinct. One of the factors behind this bird's downfall was overhunting, but it was also affected by the drying up of the Arabian Peninsula. In the 1990s, DNA analysis proved that the Arabian ostrich was very closely related to the North African ostrich. Because of this, it was considered to be suitable for introduction into the areas where the Arabian subspecies used to live, and some of them were successfully reintroduced into Saudi Arabia. After this success, many more reintroductions were attempted, and one of these reintroductions famously failed. Some of these birds were released into a large reserve in Israel, and some were released into the Negev desert. Not only was this reintroduction a complete failure, but the birds seemed to almost disappear. After their attempted reintroduction, they were never found, and it's still unknown what exactly happened to them. It's possible that a group of people could have stolen the ostriches, or they could have succumbed to the elements. It's possible that they could still be out there hiding somewhere, but for now it seems like they just vanished. Thankfully, there have been new attempts this year to reintroduce this ostrich into Israel, and hopefully with a little bit of luck it will be successful. For our next animal we can head over to North America, as we have the red wolf. The red wolf is a canine native to the southeastern United States, and its size is intermediate between the coyote and the grey wolf. This canine's classification as a separate species has been quite controversial, as some view it as a subspecies of the grey wolf, and some see it as a hybrid between the wolf and coyote. As these 2 species can interbreed and they're found in the same area, most wolves are part coyote, and most coyotes are part wolf. Despite this, the red wolf is classified as a separate species, and this species is listed as critically endangered. Once again, this species used to have a much larger range, but it was driven to near extinction in the mid-1900s. Quite a few factors led to its decline, but the 3 main factors were aggressive predator control programs, habitat destruction, and hybridization with coyotes. Because of this canine's rapid decline, a few of these wolves were put into captive breeding programs so that they could eventually be reintroduced back into the wild. In 1987, captive red wolves were released into the Alligator River National Wildlife Refuge, and a few years later some were released into the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. At first, these canines started to grow in number, but due to the lack of regulation enforcement by the US Fish and Wildlife Service, by 2018 there were only 40 wild individuals left. This declined to 14 in 2019 and 8 in 2021. There are still very small populations in both areas, but I think it's fair to say that this reintroduction was a failure. The released wolves fell victim to disease and parasites, and they also came into competition with coyotes. These are just some of the many reasons why this reintroduction failed, but hopefully we can see this unique canine in large numbers in the wild in the future. For our next failed reintroduction, we will be heading over to Guadeloupe, and we will be taking a look at the West Indian manatee. The West Indian manatee is a large aquatic mammal, and it can be found along the east coasts of North and South America, as well as the Caribbean islands. This species has a few subspecies such as the Florida manatee, but the West Indian manatee itself is listed as vulnerable. These mammals mostly inhabit shallow coastal areas, and they're greatly affected by climate change and human activity. The West Indian manatee is truly a giant, with the largest on record measuring 4.6 meters long and weighing 1,655 kilograms. As manatees are so large, they have very few natural predators, and they even lack predator avoidance behavior. Sometimes they are taken by American alligators and American crocodiles, but in more coastal waters they are a target for tiger sharks and bull sharks. One of the leading causes of fatalities in Florida manatees are boat collisions, but the Florida manatees are also affected by loss of habitat and pollution. If you own a boat, it's important to be careful in areas with manatees, because these creatures are simply so slow moving that it takes them a while to get out of the way. One area where the West Indian manatee used to thrive is Guadeloupe, but at the beginning of the 20th century, overhunting and boat collisions wiped them out. In 2016, a few manatees were reintroduced into a protected bay, and this kept them away from boating traffic. These manatees were shipped all the way from Singapore, and eventually they were going to be released back into the wild. Unfortunately, in August of 2016, one of these manatees died, and the cause of death was thought to be a kidney infection. After this, the reintroduction program lost momentum, and then it ran into political issues. Even if this reintroduction program went ahead, it's unknown if the West Indian manatee would survive in Guadeloupe, as it might run into the same issues that it's facing in other countries. To this day, it's still hard to find information about the project, and unfortunately, it seems like it was a failure. Hopefully, the government will choose to kickstart this project once again, because it would be amazing to see wild manatees back in Guadeloupe once again. If you think there are any other animals or stories that could have made it into this video, then let me know down in the comments below. But thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed. If you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like these. But until next time, goodbye.